I think I was out of uni for like maybe 6 months. I sold my Astra and got an Audi R8.
I mean, like, how outrageous.
And then HMRC investigated me.
You know Flavio Briatore, the old owner of the Renault F1 team? I lose him for like 5 minutes, then all of a sudden I hear like, whoop. We were having dinner with Alex Albon, and just randomly there was Albon, Ricciardo, Nick de Vries.
It's 4 a.m. The race is tomorrow. And he's like, no, Charles Leclerc is going to be at Jimmy's. And I was like, I'm sure he will be, but we're going home. And the next thing, you send me your location like half an hour later, he's in Jimmy's.
This is going to make us sound like we're just going out. Anyways.
You are just going out. Ladies and gents, welcome back to Pitstop. It's 10 at night. It's the latest we've ever filmed a podcast.
And the Arsenal game's currently on, 1-0 down. Sad
Yeah,
day.
that sucks, so we're missing that.
But you're sad about that.
No, I'm happy though, because we've got 2 guests on the pod. 2 for a change.
We
is
do.
nice.
I'm excited for this one because it's going to be laid back, chilled. I'm sure we're going to have some great stories. Ladies and gentlemen, Seb and Paul. Let's go!
Hello!
Hey! Should we start off with you guys giving yourself a quick intro of how you would describe who you are and what you do?
Do you want me to describe Paul?
Yeah, that's a great one. Describe each other.
Yeah, okay.
So Paul, oh god, car YouTuber. I would kick it off with that first of all. So just car fan. You've always enjoyed cars, and then you, when you were younger, started going into London to. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait, let me not mess this up now. It's like one of your best mates, you know.
Doesn't
You're like
need the life story. So.
Yeah. Used to take the train into central London to film cars on your phone at the time, and put them up on YouTube, and it kind of went from there. So you started the Supercars of London YouTube channel, and it's still going today, and it's now about your cars, your stories around cars, and mainly all based around the automotive world, because you're a huge car fan. And actually very knowledgeable F1, Paul, as well.
That was really
That
good.
was really good. Fair play. Yeah, fair enough.
The bar has been set.
Paul, you're up.
What are you going to say about him?
Who am I?
Dropped out of uni after year 1.
Didn't even make it to year 1. Yeah.
I would say Seb is an entrepreneur. I would say your skill set spans vastly from social media, because I remember when we first met, you had a website, you had a YouTube channel, you were organising photo shoots in Monaco. I remember some of the early videos when you were going around with a microphone. I think Seb thought that he was a TV presenter.
We'll find them, pull them up.
I forgot
Don't worry,
about the microphone. Yeah.
Switched on. Best way to describe.
It's a much nicer, kind of more genuine intro. Thank you very much.
We spend a lot of
appreciate
time
that.
together,
We spend,
and we do a lot of road trips. And when the cameras aren't rolling, I kind of go, oh, I can chill out now. Meanwhile, like Seb has about 14 business calls to make. So
we've known each other for a long time. To give some context, also, we met when I was probably 17. 18, so only about 6 months ago.
For legal reasons. Sounds like grooming.
Yeah.
Where did you meet, actually?
In Monaco.
We met in Monaco. We started talking online. God, it doesn't we started chatting online, and I was watching a lot of your videos. And
Car videos.
And then we met. You had the R8. You had an Audi R8.
I think I was planning a road trip down to Monaco because that is the holy grail for supercars. Yeah. And from my content, car spotting, running around the streets of London looking for cars, I dreamt of going to Monaco. Running around looking for supercars in the rain gets quite boring in London. So to go down to a sunny part of the world, and you being based down there, I was like, right, like I'll head down to the south of France, meet up with you, we can collaborate, and kind of went from there.
I mean, that's the main reason why we wanted to get you boys on, because we know that you've had an amazing relationship for the last, what did you say, 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah, 10
which
years.
Is crazy. Yeah. And then we met you in Qatar. So from our point of view, it's like, wow, we've all just become friends straight away. But you guys have known each other forever.
But same for us with you guys. Because you've known each other for a long time,
school,
right?
Yeah.
But I think there was something cool about us. You know, there was the two groups.
We had a good group.
Two duos out there.
It was a good group.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was an epic trip out there.
I like the Supercars of London thing, the fact you were out in London just filming cars, and then you were doing the same in Monaco.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. So you've just been chatting, and you've been like, you want to go to Monaco. Had you wanted to come to London or whatever?
Yeah, I wanted to come to London, and I think it was actually mainly just there was no one else really doing it, right? When we started, I mean, there was Shmi, there was Alex Smolik, a couple other guys, but it was just, there's someone who's got this same passion as I do.
There's another weirdo.
Yeah, there's another weirdo that I've met online, and just someone that you can talk to about, okay, how do we edit this together? Like, well, how should we, what should the title of the videos be? What kind of thumbnail should we do? What interests the audience more? And we each had our own way of doing things. And I think just having that bond was really nice. And when you go car spotting, anyone who will be listening to this who's actually been car spotting before, you have a lot of time to kill, right? Between spots, between cars you'll see. And so you get to know someone really well. So I remember the times we'd wait outside nightclubs for the people to leave with their cars so you could film the startup. And you'd be waiting outside for like 4 or 5 hours.
How sad does that sound? Like we were waiting outside, and we at this point I was in the club. I was over 18. I was waiting outside, the
lingering around the outside
for people to finish partying so they could get into their cars and I could film them starting.
Are you going to start up now? Can you open your valves, please?
But I think
literally.
That's when you think about, like, social media was in its infancy, right? Like, it was a completely different world back then. All of my friends were literally either out clubbing, or before they turned 18 they were using their older brother's fake ID to go clubbing. And then I'd go back to school on the Monday and they'd be like, oh, it was so crazy, we were in this club and then this happened. I was like, oh cool, like I saw 2 Lamborghinis.
What is it about cars that you boys fell in love with?
So weirdly, full circle, it was F1 that got me into road cars.
Okay.
So I was into F1 back in 2001. Big Williams fan back there. Ralph Schumacher and Pablo Montoya.
Not anymore.
Their kind of successors teetered.
It's dwindling.
Dwindling, there's the word.
Yeah.
Then I got fed up with Ferrari winning everything. And I wasn't actually the biggest Michael Schumacher fan because he was winning everything. But then I realised that Ferrari made cars for the road. And the first time I saw a Ferrari on the road, I was like, whoa.
If you go on your boys' Instagram now, there's a picture of like every nice supercar I've ever seen. Like, incredible. I haven't ever driven like barely any nice cars. What was your first ever cars?
So mine was a Fiat Panda.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Grande or just the
no, like
standard?
it was a 1998, I think.
Nothing in Seb's life is Grande.
Yeah, nothing. Well,
Actually, for him it is. Wait a minute, I think it was quite a big car.
But it was a hilarious car. It'd been drawn all over. It didn't work at first. It was like a uni tradition that there was this car that was in the parking of the cafeteria. They'd been passed down through various students, and because they knew I loved cars when I arrived, they told me, listen, you can have the car if you can fix it up, you can have it. And so that's what I did for the 3 months I was at uni, basically. And then passed that down, and then I had a Renault Twizy. Don't know if you know those. They're like tiny little electric.
Not familiar.
You can find a photo now, and then you'll.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
It's got Lambo doors.
It's got Lambo doors.
Or no doors.
The eagle doors, the suicide doors.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a 2-seater. It's actually not registered as a car. It's registered as a quadricycle. But it's very convenient. You can park in motorcycle spots and stuff. But that's what got me my first like driving experiences. And the Mummobile. Do you remember that car?
The Mummobile.
My mum's car. It's a Mercedes C220 diesel station wagon. It's like the most mum dropping her kids off at school car you can imagine.
It's an
icon. And all of our first YouTube videos around Monaco were filmed with this car.
Amazing.
And so and they still have it, and they still use it all the time. So those are kind of the first staples for us of the car world.
Paul, what was your first car?
My first car was a 2-door Vauxhall Astra SXI 2007. I remember when it first came out because it had like the really swoopy side windows. You can tell that I'm really technical with cars, right? Like swoopy side windows.
You know more than me.
So I had that, that was the first car that I bought. I used my mum's car first, which was a 2004 Ford Focus.
Great car, by the way.
Yeah, very good. And then once I got into the YouTube stuff more seriously after uni, I think I was out of uni for like maybe 6 months, I sold my Astra and got an Audi R8. Which
I mean, like, how outrageous. And then wrapped it like Iron Man.
Yeah. But that was like
does that?
a business move where I'd basically sold thin air to about five companies. So at this point, I had a social media following. Businesses were kind of getting into it. And I decided that I would position a supercar with advertising space. I was like, you can have the 2 doors, you can have the windscreen, you can have the roof, you can have the bonnet. So I basically sold advertising space on a car that I didn't own and managed to convince them to pay me per month, which then paid the finance on the car.
Smart.
I didn't know that was how you...
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
really smart.
I managed to get the car on finance and literally sticking it up, which is why I wrapped it looking like Iron Man, and it literally looked like a race car with number plates. And the Daily Mail wrote about it. I think I went on CNN out in the States. They were all like, wow, like, you've bought this car through YouTube, that's amazing. And then HMRC investigated me because they were like, whoa, hold on a minute, this guy's just spent 90 grand on a car cash and we've got no record of him earning any money.
Oh shit.
And I was like, what? Like, all from the national press.
So that all went well?
Yeah,
is there anything else to this story?
I proved to them.
So you are a bit of a dodgy geezer. I like that. I like that. A bit of wheeling dealing. It kind of leads me on to my next question. But before we do that, we should probably run the karting lap.
Oh yeah.
For the people.
Yeah.
And you boys haven't seen your times yet, so we need to reveal the times.
I'm very curious.
I know what you're thinking. Fab, you sold the Golf. Well, how could you possibly be driving? Well, we stole my dad's car. Cheers, Aldo. Woo!
Have you ever met a biggest excuse maker already? So he's backed out of the go-karting,
No.
pretending that he's got on the wrong train the wrong way. He called me like 10 minutes ago and he was like, you won't believe it, I've got on the wrong train.
What a little bitch.
It's the problem with trying to organise something with a 12-year-old.
It doesn't look like much because it's just an SUV.
Seb's late. Apparently he's always late. So, no, it must be something to do with being French. Don't know.
I can only assume. He comes with a beep. Here he is, bonjour.
Has Paul been practicing?
Paul is currently out on the track with the owner, getting the fastest lines
You're joking.
because he didn't think you'd be here in time.
You're joking.
So he is out there right now.
Shall I go stop them?
He knows he's been caught now.
I haven't eaten for a week, so I can be nice and light for today. The taxi driver was like, did you come all the way over here just to go karting? I was like, yeah, absolutely. He's getting a child seat.
No, he's not.
Yeah. So far more karting than me.
So who do we actually think is quickest? You're saying Seb.
I will always back Seb, even though some of his lines were suspect.
And you did have a lot more practice.
I thought
you were quite quick.
I thought we were going to talk about all that.
However,
practice.
though, in fairness, when we first went out, it was quite damp, and by the time Seb got on, it was the track.
We
was
dried
dry.
it for him.
So,
I have
you
warm
know,
tyres as well, right? Because
I'd warm the tyres and dried the track out. For
yeah,
him.
so
Well, it's never happened before what has happened, because it's quite crazy how tight this is.
It's incredibly close.
Oh,
Like,
really?
It's
absolutely
insanely close. This is not a setup. For
No,
the
yeah,
pod.
like we
This is
thought. I thought Dan was lying, then I looked at the screen. That's why I made him turn all the screens off, because I was like, "There's no way they're seeing this."
completely legit.
I swear to God, there is 1,000th of a second in it. Like, there's nothing in it. There's absolutely nothing.
That is outrageous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine if I'm
This is going to be so much teasing. Whoever wins this has...
Well, no, if you win, it'll be like expected.
Right.
If I win, I'll just tease you forever.
Paul, you got a 37.
Yeah.
292.
292. Okay, so I just need him to be at 993.
Seb,
Please don't be at 9.
you got a 37. 291.
Yes!
How close is that? I swear, it's so close.
No matter what you say
Crazy.
now.
I did so many laps as well.
To put it into perspective, so what did you get? A 36.6?
36.6, but I did it on a bright sunny day.
I think James got a 35.5. So you're about 2 seconds off the pace because of it was mildly moist.
Yeah.
For you boys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, you
Nearly
we'll
done.
take that as a
We'll
we'll
take
take that.
Like, there's plenty of excuses.
Oh, yeah. Right wet
We
lap
will.
for that
That'll
one.
be-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit jet lagged from the hour flight.
Oh, yeah. Geneva. I mean, the jet lag from Geneva was brutal, yeah.
So the question I had, if you don't mind answering it, is through meeting you boys and chatting, and we obviously went for a few beers the other day, and I was trying to figure out kind of how you earn your money. I mean, is it just through YouTube? And if you boys don't mind talking about it, I think people at home would love to know, because we see what you do. We drive these cars and you make videos, but like you obviously have all the other stuff that you do outside of driving. Do you want to share that stuff?
I
think we can break it up to YouTube and then outside of YouTube.
Yeah.
So YouTube, it's fairly well known now. I mean, you have AdSense is, you know, the obvious one is YouTube will pay you for the ads that they'll include in your videos, and you'll split the revenue with YouTube. So the more views you get, the more AdSense. We're getting very technical, very
It's just
quick,
going to be
aren't
like, I don't even know this.
we? Yeah.
Doing it 15,
My manager handles all of this.
15 years.
And it
and-
must vary for you as well between an English and a French channel.
Yes.
Because the ad spend will be different
And then you have advertising. So then you have any product placement or sponsorship basically that comes through. And that can be, you know, things that you'll wear. It can be any car, anything car related for us. And that depends really kind of what industry you're in. And so, yeah, those are kind of the two main sources of income through YouTube, I'd say. I mean, you can go into all sorts of different things, like even appearance at certain events or different things like that. And then you have next to YouTube. And, you know, we've both tried out different things, had things that have worked, have things that haven't at all. We could talk about the things that haven't probably for a lot longer than the things that have.
Hey, they're the things that then make the future things work, though.
Yes, exactly.
So you learn a lot as you go. And I think for both of us, we've created this business in essence and a platform at such an early age with no real guidance or any sort of mentor that's telling us, or like, well, this is now like at the point where you need to do this. And I think we were kind of like feeling around in the dark to try and figure out how we were doing this, because we were having these brands. I remember the first time a brand approached me, it was Shell, and they wanted me to come down for the day, and they told me that the fee was £1,500 and I would be filming at the Top Gear test track. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I've never been there before. Yeah,
that's really cool.
I was on this phone call trying to do the math in my head, saying, well, if the fee is £1,500, how much am I going to make?
That means I'm going to pay no tax.
No,
That's
no.
what he was saying.
I can buy 2 R8s now. Yeah.
So actually, in the complete reverse, I thought that the fee was what I had to pay to do the day.
Oh, really?
wow.
No
Yeah.
way.
So I had done the calculation in my head that even if my video got 250,000 views, which I thought it might do, that I wasn't going to earn the money. So in my head, I was like, I'm going to be at a loss here. So I
No
said,
way you saw fee and thought it meant you pay the
that's
fee.
yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. I might have thought the same to drive.
So
the
I
top
told him
track.
at the end of the call, I was like, I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to be able to afford to do this day. And they were like, what do you mean? And I said, well, if I'm paying £1,500 to come down and do this day, I don't think I'm going to earn that back when I'm making the video and putting it out on YouTube. And they're like, no, that's what you get paid. I was like, oh my God.
Sign me up. Yeah.
I was like, for what?
That's amazing.
For 3 hours of my time? And they're like, yeah. I was like, I'm on £500 an hour. I couldn't believe it.
You guys have killed it. Like, you're very big in your space. The numbers are huge. What you guys do.
Oh, Seb, your Instagram is, I mean, and Paul's as well, but like the numbers.
his-
Oh yeah,
his-
500k now.
his is a joke.
Congrats.
His is a
Thank
joke.
you.
Insane.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. To be honest, like it'd be great if we could say, yeah, we know exactly like what we're doing to make it work. But there's times where
course.
we'll sit next to each other
You're
in the
still
car,
learning every day.
and we'll look at it and look at the numbers and be like, do you know why this has gone
the,
up so much?
The time in LA when we had done that day, we had organised a day where we were filming 4 supercars, and we were like, this is the best day ever. We had a McLaren, a Porsche, an R8 and a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And we were just basically jumping around all of these cars, filming them. I ran out of GoPro battery, I ran out of memory cards, everything. Like, I'd filmed so much. And then we went and had lunch on this little spot that was on the corner of this intersection, and the McLaren was parked up right at the front. And Seb goes, oh, before the food comes, can you just film me having a bit of coffee?
I see that video. I've
Yeah.
seen it. Yeah.
And how many views has it got?
I think it's like 15 million, maybe.
That's
something like
insane.
that. Yeah.
Like, after all of the hard work, after we've run out of GoPros and memory cards, and we're just having lunch,
Yeah.
and you just have
You
the
never
coffee.
know, do you? You never
Yeah.
know what video.
More often than not, it's those videos that because
20
it's so
seconds.
authentic and it's something everyone can relate to. So if
Yeah.
you overthink your video, your idea, they're usually not the ones that will bang
Yeah.
after. But those kinds of simple things that you kind of look at and go, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I might as well post that, see how it goes. Those are the ones that will often connect the most and be the easiest to consume and to watch for the people.
Well, that's the thing about you boys, is that you've spent so much time together, and I know there's some juicy stories in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I know there is.
there are a lot of juicy.
Usually around Monaco F1 weekend.
Yeah, right.
Because I reckon...
Cue them up.
Yeah, I reckon from very early on, in, like, that I've known Seb's kind of seen the F1 weekend as like his weekend. I think Seb goes into Thursday going, this is the Delanney weekend.
Doesn't matter about who's
I don't
taking
know how
pole.
true
I get down there on like the Tuesday or the Wednesday, and he's like, we're going out.
We're
And
gonna
I'm
party
already
tonight.
saying car spotting, right? Car spotting, right? And Seb's like, no, we're going out.
Put the camera down, Paul.
Yeah.
Come over here.
Yeah, we've had some funny times. I remember one in particular.
Do you? Where are we going with? We look at each other now. We're like, which one are you going to talk about, Paul?
Well, I remember one in particular where I was there with Roger Dubuis, and I think you were there with Tag.
Yeah.
And we were both in the harbour, right? And we had one car, and it was like 4 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, guys, let's go back. Because Seb lives up in the hills, right? So there's no walkable way back, although he has walked home a few times.
It's a long walk, let me tell you.
It's like
Oh, yeah.
7 kilometers at about a 200 meter altitude.
460 meters, actually, to be precise. I know exactly what it is.
And I get a text from Seb at like 4 a.m. We're going to Jimmy's. And
What's Jimmy's?
so if the marina of Monaco is one place, like the complete opposite side of Monaco
It's a nightclub.
is where Jimmy,
okay.
and it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
nightclub. And I said, Seb, we just need to go home. It's 4 a.m. The race is tomorrow. And he's like, no, Charles Leclerc is gonna be at Jimmy's. And I was like, I'm sure he will be. But we're going home. And the next thing, you send me your location like half an hour later, he's in Jimmy's. And I'm still in the harbour where the car is. And then you go, oh, and by the way, Cole had to change his clothes.
Oh, yes, I know. Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, right, okay, why? And he goes, so we actually got kicked out of the Red Bull hospitality because Cole did a somersault into the pool.
But was Charles Leclerc in Jimmy's?
Yeah. No, well,
That's
I
what
think
people
there's
wanna know.
something. I think we're getting our nights mixed up because if it was before the race, he wouldn't have been in Jimmy's.
No, because there was a time when me and
He was
Sam...
in F2 or something, maybe.
No, he was definitely in F1. He might have been Alfa Romeo. Still overdrove on the Sunday, though. But
I can vouch for that. Drivers do go out on a Saturday night. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Numerous times.
Do you remember when Lewis went out in his Zonda with OJ Beckham and then
Right.
didn't come back until 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
On a Saturday?
I've heard some stories.
Yeah,
of some
5 a.m. on the
drivers
Sunday
out, yeah.
morning, yeah. But anyway, going back to this night, I end up having to get in the car, drive to Jimmy's, and pick you and Cole up, and he comes out with a plastic bag of wet clothes. Honestly, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in Monaco, and he's come out as if like his mum's had to pack a spare pair of clothes.
Like some fancy clubs.
And then we just drive back up into the mountain. I'm like, what is Monaco F1 weekend?
The moral of it is that we also enjoyed ourselves a lot across this journey and tried to
Of course.
make the most of it, because you have to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew within the first 10 minutes of meeting you that you were the bad influence.
Oh,
No, he's the worst.
Oh, I know.
Don't
that.
try and throw me under the bus.
Because we were in our hotel, the club in our hotel at 3 a.m. I think it closed at 3, didn't it? Or was it 2? I think it was 3. And you were like, the night's just getting fucking started, guys. What the fuck? 3 o'clock? What the hell?
Have you told them the story about when you landed in Qatar?
Oh yeah. Well, this is going to make us sound like we're just going out. Anyways,
You are just going out.
so we arrive in Qatar, and we're like, okay, you know, it's gonna be relaxed. We knew everything closed quite early, so I'm like, great, you know, we're gonna have a relaxed first start to this trip. We get there, we get to the check-in, and the lady at check-in is like, would you like to go to the club? I'm like, would you stop it right now? I'm like, absolutely not. She's like, okay, well, your room is on the 4th floor. The club's on the 3rd floor. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you landed at like 11 p.m. At this point, we'd already been there like 2 or 3 nights.
Yes.
So we'd
Yeah,
already
yeah,
established ourselves with the time zone.
Yeah.
We were already well equipped and very well aware of what goes on in Qatar. And you had just flown in from Paris, right?
Yeah.
You had a heavy night in Paris,
Oh, yeah.
slept the whole way,
Yeah.
landed in Qatar, got to the hotel, literally, because I saw you the morning after, and you were not in the best shape. And,
Night
Honestly.
races, though, right? So you can, that's true. You can recover during the day.
yeah.
But no,
Oh,
I
it
mean,
was
to
so
be
good.
honest, if ever, you know, you're able to go to an F1 race, it's everything around it as well is unreal, right? So
the whole
obviously there's the
weekend.
racing, you enjoy that, but it's such a special atmosphere. There's so much going on. You want to go out and enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's
Right?
not just the alcohol. Like, it's the people you meet. It's the main thing.
Yeah,
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 Like,
yeah.
we never would have met you boys without the Formula
true.
1 weekend, but we
Yeah.
meet so many interesting people.
Yeah.
You know?
And we're
think-
calm now.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
we're relaxed now. I remember seeing Paul doing the worm through
Yeah.
a nightclub in Monaco once.
The worm is
Yeah.
my signature move.
I lose him for like 5 minutes, then all of a sudden I hear like what?
We didn't see a worm in
What's
Qatar,
going-
did we?
What's
No,
going on
I don't
here?
think so.
Didn't
no.
come out.
No, he was doing the moth in Qatar.
the place, you know Flavio Briatore, the old owner of the Renault F1 team, Flavio Briatore.
Sure.
Right? Yeah? Okay, anyways. Total character. You cheated, got kicked out of F1 for cheating, all this stuff.
Right.
Anyways, he owned the place that you did the worm in. So
Yeah.
you did the worm in
Nice.
front of this F1
Yeah.
legend.
Oh, that's special. That's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Was there ever any times you just were car spotting like back in the day and then you wouldn't expect to even talk to that person, or it turns out to be like a mad celebrity, now you're friends with them and you go out?
Where was I think it was Qatar. Bumped into Lando, who have had fleeting conversations with, but know that he has seen some of the Supercars London videos when he was a little bit younger and I was a little bit younger. And I was just going to be there to be like fist bump and be like, good luck for the race, mate. And he was like, oh, dude, how's it going? Great to see you. I haven't seen you in ages. And I was like,
That sounded
"Fuck."
just like him as well. Yeah, spot on. Spot on. And likewise for you, Seb. I mean, being in Monaco, you must know. I mean, you know some of the F1 drivers because they live there. And
Go on, tell us. You're desperate to tell this story.
No, so you do have, to tee it up, you do have a lot of these, you have a lot of F1 drivers, you have a lot of athletes in general who live in Monaco. Strategic place to live for many reasons.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you will bump into quite a few, like I go to a gym, and last time I went to the gym, Fernando Alonso was at this gym, right? Random. It's a tiny place. It's the size of Hyde Park. So yeah, there's not many places for you to kind of hide around. There's certain restaurants as well that if you go to, you will spot certain athletes and stuff like that. So yeah, so I have been lucky enough to meet a few of the guys, and it's awesome. I mean, off season, there's so much going on also in Monaco. We were in a restaurant once, remember? Last time we were having dinner.
In Fontvieille?
No. We were having dinner with Alex Albon.
Oh, sorry,
And just randomly there was Albon, Ricciardo, Nick De Vries.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a couple other guys just in the same restaurant during off season. So anyways, it's pretty outrageous. If you're a Formula One fan and you want to see some drivers go off season to Monaco, is your best bet. So the story that you are teeing up is that
spelled my name wrong.
So F1 posted. So I was getting tagged a couple of days ago. All of a sudden, my phone's kind of going crazy. So I'm getting tagged in something. I'm like, this is odd. Anyway, so not checking it for a while, and then after a bit, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get a lot of messages about something going on. So it turns out Formula One posted a video of Leclerc speaking to a tennis player, chatting about karting and how I'd brought this tennis player karting. So my claim to fame was that I was mentioned in an official Formula One post, but they spelt my flipping name wrong. So this is what Paul is teeing up.
But they did the same thing to us. We went on Ted's notebook.
There you go.
And, walking through the paddock at Imola a couple of years ago, and it's very obvious. Jake and Fab, and they fucking put our names around the wrong way.
No
so
way.
now I'm Jake and he's Fab.
It happens so much though, because you just know
they do
it's
it on
someone.
purpose.
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
you're not quite there yet. You're not a
deserve it
big
yet.
shot. Get back in your place, okay? We're gonna spell your name wrong.
Fair enough.
But it's nuts how much Charles Leclerc's like the Prince of Monaco now.
Oh, I
he
bet.
is like.
It's
Mate, I
now
see on
the
TikTok
Leclerc
all
weekend.
day,
It's not
every
the
day.
Delaney
Mate,
weekend.
videos
It's
of
the
him.
Leclerc, he's
the
the
Leclerc.
picture. Great
For
place
sure.
to live, and
Yeah.
no tax, man. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's a big one for them. I mean, I think a lot of the athletes will obviously go there. I mean, I think the taxes really helps, right? But
I think so.
yeah, I think it's a very big reason to be there. I mean, there are other reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot will go there. They'll have short careers often, right? So I guess you want to max out during the time of your career to be able to keep as much as possible, so that afterwards. But even now, I think it's just become a hub. Like you see it, so you'll see, Toto Wolff when he will have his coffee with all the drivers. It will always be in Monaco. And now for motorsport, it's become such a hub that even I think strategically for the drivers, it's a good place to be.
Would you remember? I think it was the beginning of, maybe it was May last year, that we were driving down the Grimaldi sort of strip, and he said, this place here is where Toto Wolff's new apartment is.
Outrageous.
And I was like looking up at it, and then he goes, brake, because we were coming up to the zebra crossing, and then he went, oh look, there is Toto Wolff. And we had to stop on the zebra crossing because he was crossing with his wife.
We nearly killed him. Oh, look at his nice new apartment.
His apartment's so nice.
That's it. Speaking of Formula One, boys, I mean, what do you think of the season this year, or F1 in general, the last couple of years?
The last couple of years have been tricky, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Lewis fan. I just think in general, I think there's so many races, and I was having a conversation with someone the other day that when you watch the race, there's so much talk about the race before and what's going to happen with the race after that you kind of forget about the race that's happening and how that's part of history versus something like Le Mans, right, where that whole entire weekend is just iconic. I think Formula One now, with so many racing, so much coverage, it's all blending into one long season. A little bit like the Premier League, where you can't really remember what happened between Fulham and West Ham last season.
Yeah, it's hard to remember like podiums,
exactly.
Even though we talk about and do on the pod, I wouldn't be able to tell you the top three for every race.
It's hard just to watch all the races.
Yeah, exactly. And so this season, and it is something to do with the time zones as well, but I've not actually watched a full race live.
Right.
Even though I'm a big Formula One fan, I watched the beginning of the Australian Grand Prix, I think.
They've been early at the start of this year because they're on that side of the world.
Yeah.
So,
so it has been difficult, but also I think this year more than other years, for me personally, weekends have been quite difficult. So I'm looking forward to when they start getting into more European times or even out towards like the States and stuff, because they're the dream.
I do think the amount of races is an issue, because I think very, very few people will be at that level of fandom for F1 to watch every race, let alone
practice, qualifying, sprint
sprints.
qualifying.
That's the thing.
There's something all the time for like 3 days straight.
Too many. You could maybe do 15, 16 race weekends. You'd be like, I'll watch every single one, and they're so important.
You're diluting the excitement to a certain extent.
For sure.
When there's so much for you to consume, you've really got to commit such a large portion of your life if you're going to watch FP1, FP2, go through the entire weekend.
And not only that, it hangs on into the next week.
You
know, with people talking about the race afterwards, and if there was a penalty, they're talking about it. And then before you know it, it's Thursday, and it's like, oh shit, it's another race
again.
You're spot on with that, because Max has obviously won so many races for so long. He's class. We love Max. Amazing driver. Yeah. Amazing to watch. But Carlos Sainz won the other day, and it was amazing for 24 hours. But now it's so completely quiet again.
It's moved on.
It's completely
What
moved
race
on.
did he win at?
Australia.
That's what I mean. Like, if it's not,
that was close.
I had to look around the room. I was on the spot, right?
But not bad.
That's what you mean, though, isn't it?
I think they will. I'm hoping they'll figure it out one way or another. And I'm not saying bring the pack closer to Max, because this shows just how good of a driver he is.
Yeah, he's insane.
And I think for the season after 2021, I was a little bit like, oh, this is just ridiculous. Why is he doing this? And now, I'm really warming to him, because I think he's coming out of his show a lot more. He's becoming way more relaxed.
Oh, him as a person?
Yeah,
absolutely. He's unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Max, he's a great guy. And I know you are friends with him, kind of, or I've seen certain videos.
Yeah. I think he was depicted as this kind of arrogant,
hot-headed guy. Yeah. When it wasn't going his way, he'd throw all of his toys out the pram.
But that's just the competitiveness of a person competing at the top level of sport.
But he's also just not like that. I think he was depicted that way, and then he just doesn't really care. I think so. He never really. He just never fought it. He was just like, whatever. If you want to think that. I don't really care. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to drive. I'm going to focus. Do I really need? So it wasn't out of, I think, arrogance. Him for sometimes giving quick answers or things that could come across as arrogant. It was mainly just out of, I just really don't feel like answering this question for the 12th time in the last 2 hours. I just want to drive, do my thing, and that's it. I mean, speaking of drivers driving outside of F1 time, I mean, first of all, on the sim, everyone knows he'll do a lot, but then we'll go to tracks, and it's just what he does. He's just built to be
a racing driver,
and he is just outrageous.
Lives, breathes.
And just his consistency. I mean, there's almost no point, going over how good Max is, because everyone knows.
When you see those lap times, he's a freak.
Yeah. He is a freak at how good he is. And unfortunately, I do think that is a problem for F1 now, because it is, again, for hardcore fans, you find a lot of pleasure in all the other stuff as well, on what's going on with, who's going to get that, third podium spot, or who's going to, there could be a fight for quali. There's the battles further back. There's all that kind of stuff. But for a lot of people who are coming into the sport, unfortunately, Max winning as much as he is just, that's it, lights out, and then you've lost it, and then it's going on so much, and now you feel like, well, I've missed 8 races in a row or something, I'm not going to get back into it. And I think there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of the viewership gets split between too many races. I think even for sponsors, I'm not entirely sure that it's a great thing for them. Yeah. So that's
why you see sponsors change so much at the moment. It's
definitely.
Yeah.
I think the value of what you're getting per race is not what it used to be, maybe, even though I'm sure the views will be up over what they were in, let's say, 2018, 2017, but over what they were in 2021, I think it's probably been free fall ever since, right?
Yeah.
I think on social media, it's doing really well. But how many people are actually going on TV and watching the full broadcast? That I'm not too sure about.
And it's not just that, it's actually going to the races. I mean, I know firsthand, there are some races they're really struggling to sell some tickets,
which is nuts.
Which is crazy.
Even in Vegas,
races like Miami,
really?
And Vegas, where you think it would be, this massive thing. Maybe it's just that side of the world. Maybe they have their own racing, the NASCAR and IndyCar, which they maybe prefer, and people don't want to go watch F1 as much. But
it's like you said, because there's so many of them, you can probably look at it and go, oh, well, I can't go there, there's another 20 that I can easily afford.
They're not exactly it as well. I think the price point for F1 has always been high, but it's absolutely at its highest point, where I think it does price a lot of people out.
Sure.
And weirdly, F1 is probably better viewed on a TV.
we've said that for the last 2 years. I mean,
Like,
we've
you get to follow it.
I mean, F1 when you go is great for what's there. Like, there's amazing
it's
things, but I completely agree with you.
and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not to bash on F1 because like the ticket price, it should be high because like you said, there's so much more which goes on over a race weekend. Like it's not just
you're not going for the
about
race.
racing anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we go to Silverstone, there's a massive stage and they have big artists playing, which is like
It's
people,
a festival.
you would pay a
It's
lot of money
festival.
just to go see the artist, you know, and there's like all the activations in the fan zone, and this isn't a plug for F1. Like, we're not being paid to say
It's
this.
also
Like,
£15 a beer. Let's say that. So Silverstone,
Yeah, that needs to be changed. Yeah.
but you get what you pay for, but it is pricey, and there's a lot of people out there who just can't afford it.
Well, I
Yeah.
think there's a huge appetite now for everything around F1.
Of
so like
course.
what you guys are doing, I think all the, you know, everything that's going on with on YouTube. It's kind of what I was getting. So how many people are actually watching the full broadcast is maybe going down, but people who are following, for example, the drivers, I think how popular the drivers are now compared to before is so much bigger. How popular everything around F1, especially on YouTube, is compared to before is massive now.
And that's just a natural human thing to be interested in someone else's life. And I think we, you know, back, you know, 20, 30 years ago, people would have always wanted to have known what Michael Schumacher was doing in the paddock after the race, but it was never accessible. Whereas now it is. I don't think that's something that Drive to Survive has all of a sudden made everyone obsessed with.
I think that was Twitter.
People wanted to know it anyway,
I think
you know?
Twitter was the first one that gave access to like celebrities, where like DiCaprio popped up with a profile, and you all of a sudden you got to see him outside of a movie or on a red carpet, and you got to see him, which is obviously has pros and cons, right? Because now we get to see what the absolute 0.1% billionaires get up to and what car collections they've got.
There's so much stuff which is so outrageous out there now that you know, if you're just starting from scratch, it's very hard because you're competing with Manny Koshbin or these various
Matt
people
Armstrong
have.
with Marcus Rashford's
Rolls-Royce,
which is crazy, by the way, for someone like me and even you, who we don't really care about how you rebuild a car, but I've watched fucking back to back
his videos are amazing
because they're amazing.
He's a
and
genius.
they're done really well, and he's a likable guy.
Oh, definitely.
He's a genius. And I think what we have access to now on social media is great, but it is just like a slither. And it's always the best bits, right? So I basically share the best 15 minutes of my day, essentially, because I want to make it look as fun as possible, as energetic as possible, and have the most action in, so that it just provides the best insight into what I'm doing that day. Because I'm not going to sit there and film like when we popped into Tesco's, got stopped by the bloody security guard who thought I'd stolen everything just
That
down
would have
there.
been quite good, actually. You should have filmed it.
But sitting in the M25 traffic for an hour is probably not for YouTube.
I find it's really important, and I think we were lucky to grow up as much as we did with our audience, to have that authentic side to it and just be as open as you can and not fall into the trap of just always trying to do more and just impress as much as possible. And I think there's as much value in just being yourself, and long term I think that's a lot better. Anyways,
100%.
little speech over.
Nicely said. And that kind of brings us swiftly on.
Yeah, we need to get you on the sim.
To the part of the pod, which is
Here we go.
my favourite, actually.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
the stories were great, but this is fucking awesome. And I can't wait to see both of you on there. It's quite an impressive leaderboard.
It's outrageous.
I'm quite proud. It's probably the thing that I think we're most proud of.
Good on the sim? You reckon you're going to be all right?
Not that confident on
If
the
you
sim.
look at that, where do you think you might come, both of you?
Is any of them using a controller, or are they all on that?
No, they're all using.
Well, they're all that, unfortunately.
Can I
know
use a
we had this
controller?
conversation. No, you can't
I
use a
would want to
fucking
use a
controller.
controller as well.
But just like in brackets, just put a little C next to my name, like so that people know. There's a great.
All right, how about you can use a controller, but we're going to add 2 seconds on?
What?
I'd
2
say
seconds
that's
is
fair.
punchy.
2
No, I
seconds.
think you don't
All
use
right.
a controller.
Because I'm
Deal
3
with it.
seconds
Deal
quicker
with
on a
it.
controller.
I think we
Are
keep
you?
it. We keep
No
it
controller.
fair.
I
We
can
keep
do a
it fair.
105 on a controller, and my lap time here is a 108.
Because if you're allowed to use a controller, then Natalie Pinkham, she should have used a controller.
That's true. I reckon sim all round.
Fair.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, you know,
Let's
you're
do
I'll be.
sim.
I'll be.
I
on
reckon
the
we'll
sim.
be bottom half though, both of us.
Yeah. You a little bit. You 0.001 seconds.
Mate, my
above
weight's
me.
not helping me at all here.
True.
Here
So
we go.
there you go, boys. Let's give
It's
it a go.
time.
And here we go. Paul's up first on the pit stop fastest lap.
Just getting
What a magnificent start to lap 1.
He
hasn't even made it to turn 1 and he's off the track already.
Yeah, that was nice.
Quite, a little swervy there.
Yeah, they say around Austria, if you get the first corner quick, then your lap's sorted. Really? So as long as you can nail that first one. I find this one the hardest one.
Yeah.
That was track limits right there. You went off-roading.
Here we go. This is the one.
Yeah, and don't mess this up. No pressure.
Paul Wallace on his final lap, round Austria. He's smiling, he's laughing, he's having a good time, and that's all that matters here at Pitstop.
I think you'll be around Matt Gallagher kind of times.
See, that's very interesting because Matt Gallagher spends every day in the sim.
You're going to need a new board soon.
Yeah.
Just a longer one, though.
We all need a longer one, don't we?
That's what I was about to say. Come on. That's what she said.
Here he goes. Paul Wallace around the final last 2 corners. The Pitstop fastest lap, round Austria. Here he is.
I mean, that was my quickest lap, you know.
Yeah, that was nice and smooth, actually, mate. Very nice.
Here we go then. Seb is up for his lap. Let's see what he can do. We've got Paul's time. We know what it is.
I feel like I've set the bar low again.
I'm actually using the gearbox.
So you should be faster, Seb.
Well, I don't know about that.
Seb's been on the blower to Verstappen last night.
Yeah.
Right, where are the breaking points?
Cool. Pedals had a bit of a lift there.
Not that confident with lap 1.
No?
Or 2. Or 2.
That could be lap 2 wiped out as well, to be honest.
Oh no! The pressure's on, Seb. You've only got one more lap.
If the turn 1 theory is to go by, this lap's done.
Those pedals are all over.
They're getting
I think
battery,
they've got
aren't
worse. I
they?
think they've got worse, mate.
Oh. It is a cool setup, though. I would like one of these in my house. Have you got one of these at home, Seb?
Yep.
Oh, well, there you go.
I needed to get that out. I knew he had one.
And here we go then. Round the final corner of his final lap.
Ooh.
Need a great turn here. Yeah, nice.
Oh,
not bad,
lovely.
actually. Not bad.
That is
And
lovely.
he crosses the line. Let's grab the times.
Oh, Christ.
Everyone does that.
Seb Delanney and Paul Wallace. How are you feeling about your laps?
I'm feeling more confident about this lap than I did in the go-kart.
And the car lap,
I'm weirdly feeling less confident about this lap. Than the go.
Paul, actually, yeah, you looked pretty quick. Seb, you
Not
look
so
like a
much.
natural behind the wheel. Who wants to go first?
Do Seb first, because he won the karting.
All right, Seb Delanney, you set round the pit stop, fastest lap, a 1:07.
Oh.
0.305.
Which is a good time. What do you expect full time?
Just below Tom Bellingham, just above Mikey Brown.
That's a respectable time.
I'll
Fair
take
play.
that. I'll take that.
It's a
That's
good
exactly
one.
where we said
It's a
we'd
nice
be.
one.
Lovely.
That's gorgeous, mate.
It's just kind of like midway.
It's pretty intense, isn't it? You really
3
want to know
laps.
where you're
You're
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
forward. You're sitting forward. Paul's cash about it. Paul didn't give a fuck.
Oh no, wait, because when you start revealing, I'm just going to go like this.
Do you feel any more confident after seeing that lap time?
Weirdly, yeah. I felt like my third lap was swift.
Where did I say you'd be? Around Matt Gallagher.
There's no way. What? I'm a second off Porsche.
When you put it like that. All right, well, Paul, I must say, yeah, your third lap was your fastest lap,
I thought so.
and it was pretty quick. Paul Wallace, you did the pit stop fastest lap in a 1:07.
Oh no!
.0.
There we go.
You're in between Billy Munger and Chloe Grant.
There we
Let's
go.
go.
I've always dreamt
that
of
is a
being.
solid lap.
Boys,
Let's go.
put your hands together. You both
Legends.
killed it. You killed it.
Legends.
Boys, thank you so much for coming down.
Nah,
It's been so good.
It's been a long
Thank you
time
for
coming.
having us.
Considering we were talking about it literally a day after landing from Qatar.
Yeah.
True.
It's good to.
It's been sort of 6 months waiting.
Jesus.
But we got it done.
Yeah, I even went back to Qatar just to remind myself.
Just to sniff our pillows.
A mega
in the
episode.
W.
I'm sure we'll do many more great things together.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah,
Thank
boys,
you.
thank you so much for coming on. Wish you both all the best. Congrats on all
Thank
your
you.
successes. You're both
Thank
killing
you.
it in your fields.
Congrats on this project.
Yeah, no, it's
Thank
honestly
you.
it's super cool to be on here, and actually this whole place. I thought we were just going to come and do something in your flat, but I feel like I'm in like a full-on TV studio. So what you've done here is epic, and to see the behind the scenes and see how hard you work as well, like it's nuts. Very
Appreciate
cool.
it.
Thank you.
Cool.
Appreciate that. Yeah. And is there anything you want to plug, put out there, say before you leave? Now's your time.
Paul's channel, mainly. Yeah, Supercars of London. Subscribe. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean
that's
these
pretty much it.
these trackies. Fantastic.
Yeah, we
They
both
are nice
yeah.
trackies.
Fantastic.
They are
First
nice
thing I said to you when I saw you.
I'm sure that's the outro you guys are wishing
Yeah.
for.
I think
cheers,
plugging
guys.
some
Really moving.
trackies,
Yeah, boys, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
boys,
Thank you, guys.
We hope everyone enjoyed that. If you're listening, please rate it 5 stars, hit the follow button, and if you're watching, hit the subscribe button. We hit 100k on YouTube now. So
Yeah, there you go. This is the
very
first,
happy
the
with that.
first video that
Yeah.
we've done on
Congrats,
YouTube
that's-
since.
yeah, let's go.
100K.
Boys, thank you so much.
We'll
Let's
go
go.
back under 100k after this episode.
Oh yeah. Let's go.